0 solamente. Señores, Barce, mucha carrera. Va el paraguayo, repiquetea, vuelve para atrás.
Brother, are you gonna take this pen? Yeah, hold on a second. Let me just... Oh, wow! Yeah, safe. Bond this. No, I'm out of here, mate. Can't be bothered, man. I've got places to be. I want to go strip club after this. Psych, you thought... Nah, mate, let me just... Oh, what? I'm telling you, I'm not... Are you taking the piss? Yo guys, it is your boy Newman here, and you're watching FTW. This is of course the series where I bring to the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, Apple announced a new watch that tracks your mental health. How does this even work, for God's sake? Siri, could I get a mental health update?
You feel like shit. Because you are shit. No one likes you. G. The world would be a better place if you went to the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Best believe I'm replying when it tries to give me life advice. Mate, imagine this in the world of football. There'll be a nuclear reaction when Arsenal fans try and charge it at home as Rob Holding comes on. There's not a chance that thing survives David De Gea playing out from the back. Onto the football though now, and it's been a week that can only be described as football on illegal substances.
Fucking space!
The transfer action has been kicking off with news of 7 times Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi heading to the MLS and into Miami. Can he do it on a humid summer's day in Oklahoma? Now, do you understand how mad this development is? Lionel Messi out of Europe. First of all, I'm realizing this is the end of an era. But to the MLS, the USA isn't ready. He's gonna have to act surprised when he scores his 8th goal against the Mississippi Mountain Rangers. USL farmers do not stand a chance and will be out of there when they realize they have to play against him. Messi v Philadelphia Union. They're gonna need a union when he's done with them. Imagine the left back seeing him pick up the ball on the edge of the area.
Fuck! Stop screaming! Stop!
Defenders aren't ready for him. His own team aren't ready for him. They're bottom of the league. He's gonna be on the same team as DeAndre Yedlin. Phil Neville's at home realizing he narrowly missed out on managing the Argentine. But imagine the American coaching that Leo's gonna have to put up with here.
The goal's not on the sideline. The goal's in the middle, on the end line. We don't want to run to the corner. We want to run to the middle of the pitch where the goal is.
At least he'll get to greet the club's fans to tell them about his hopes in the Western Pro-Am Mountain Dew Playoff Bowl.
De la Champions, de la eliminación. Así que hoy nosotros prometemos que este año vamos a hacer todo lo posible para que esa copa tan linda y tan...
Imagine seeing Messi in Alabama, bro. This should have been a move that Neymar made. Massive for American football, of course. Arguably the greatest of all time playing on their shores. And this just 3 years before they host the World Cup alongside Mexico and Canada. I think we're going to see a massive influx of interest in the beautiful game over there and in players moving to the league as well. It's massive for US football, but for Deserto, not as much. Who labelled him as just a video game star. That's where I know him from. He's gonna be joyous when he realizes the fruit in America gets injected with growth hormones as well. Then again, I reckon he'll be out of the country within 6 minutes of hearing soccer-related chants from the crowd. Now, he had obviously been heavily linked with a move to Barcelona, who clearly ran out of financial levers to make it happen. La Liga backs the move. Of course they did. Who's even a star in Spain right now? We got Barca fans finding new seats after the club sold the new camp to sign him. But in reality, Leo saw that Bayern Munich was still in the Champions League and said absolutely not again. There was also rumours of him switching to Saudi Arabia after their moves this week that started with Karim Benzema signing for al-Ittihad from Real Madrid. The Frenchman joins the Saudi Pro League side on 200 million euros per year.
Inshallah.
He won all there is to win in Spain, including multiple Champions Leagues, La Ligas, Copa del Rey's, and of course a Ballon d'Or. That 4 months of his prime we had from him, incredible.
He was special.
But in Saudi Arabia, and it's not as big a deal. I mean, everyone has a Benz over there. He, of course, joins Cristiano Ronaldo after he joined Al Nassr last year. But Cristiano will be in the studio sending for Karim, realising that he's not the most valuable player in the league anymore.
Done interview with Piers Morgan. £1 million in fight, it's cool.
Now, Benzema scored in his final game for Real, and Los Blancos fans will have to try and get interested in Saudi Arabian football for their 2 former club icons. Imagine a poor man trying to find a stream for 3rd division game between Afif and Al Najum. And following on from Benzema's move, there's the news of N'Golo Kante moving to al-Ittihad as well. Here we have Kante when Todd Boehly offered a 8-year deal to stay at Chelsea. Meanwhile, Benzema's happy to see his countryman walk into the dressing room. Mashallah, brother! N'Golo's been injured for a while, but he's still his usual tenacious self and has a plan to stop Vincent Aboubakar scoring over there. Imagine him and Benzema driving off into the sunset when the 2 billion drops in their bank account.
Listen, we're out here
suck all your mothers.
What other players can Saudi Arabia sign? Mahrez has been linked. There's rumours of Gundogan heading over there. I mean, Raheem Sterling, I wouldn't try it. He pushes out his bunda over there, he's going to jail. Imagine Wout Weghorst trying to press in 47-degree heat. Meanwhile, Jordan Henderson could be out of Liverpool soon, and we have live scenes of him meeting a multicultural squad.
I'm sat here with you. You're a Sikh, yeah?
No, I'm not a Sikh.
I'm sorry.
My parents from Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Me and you, we know each other. We're like family.
To be honest, I kind of like the spreading of talent across the world as long as it doesn't get too out of hand with the money exchange. But I hear it for these players. Get your money up. Because if you offered me 200 million a year or the Champions League, I know what I'm choosing.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Now, at Wembley, and the scene was set. An all-Manchester FA Cup final between the old guard of Manchester United and the new footballing powerhouses of Manchester City. And in the time that it's taken me to intro this segment, Manchester City had already scored. City took their second step to a treble with an FA Cup final win over United. In the end, a brace from new club icon Ilkay Gundogan secured silverware. Imagine being a United fan sitting down for kick-off. Woof, right, okay lads, got my beer and yeah, no, safe, we're down already. Eric, 10 seconds, you know. Might as well just restart the game, lads.
Everybody go City! Let's do it for our history. Gundogan kicks the game off and we're ready to go. Look, Man City have gone long ball already there. Flicked into Haaland. Oh my God.
This was the fastest goal ever scored in an FA Cup final, but not as fast as the trophy engraver, who, with both teams being from the same city, put Manchester on the trophy ahead of time. Here we have him beating the traffic at full time after finishing early. There was serious preparation before this final, though, from both bosses. They were firmly ready for the occasion. But honestly, for United, and it was a quicker loss of a clean sheet than Jack Grealish's duvet. I honestly was surprised to see United fans sad about the goal going. They've been supporting Man City all year. Casemiro somehow avoided a red card for this. Then a United lifeline, a dodgy penalty. Meanwhile, I'm starting to realise what was going on, as we have Sir Alex Ferguson here sending direct intercom to VAR. Elsewhere in the crowd, though, things were getting aggressive for speed.
What the fuck? Yo.
That security guard didn't even wait to see an explanation, he just deleted him. One United fan with a Tango Ice blast for a brain decided to print off a shirt mocking the Hillsborough disaster. Thankfully, this was a very short story as he was arrested immediately after.
God, I love it. I fucking love it!
But back on the pitch, and with the score at 1-1, Ilkay Gundogan cooked up a thought. Fuck it, it's only David De Gea. Ilkay Gundogan's XG versus Manchester United's at the end of the game was something to behold. And that's because David De Gea is a criminal. If his name was David Davis, he'd be at Torquay right now. Leroy Sané tweeted what we all thought about Gundogan's ability, though Sadio Mane was enraged finding out Leroy had used his 5G to tweet it. And at full time, Man City had done it. They won 2-1. Kyle Walker was doing his best Box V6 impression. Meanwhile, Jack Grealish was just trying to protect his Gucci bag back in the dressing room.
Hey, what's my Gucci bag? Fucking hell.
Pep Guardiola encouraged his players and fans to have the right portion of beer and not get too drunk. Could I get a portion of beer, please? See, that's why Thomas Muller and Pep can never work together again. But what a week it's been for West Ham United, as in the Conference League final, they defeated Serie A side Fiorentina to lift their first European trophy in over 50 years. Declan Rice captained the side to glory, but in the end, a last-minute goal from Jared Bowen would see the Hammers blowing bubbles on the European stage.
He's done it! David Moyes is on the pitch! West Ham have won it! European glory is theirs!
And the West Ham squad were loving it back at the hotel. It's all fun and games for Jared, but Danny Dyer knows he's about to get an influx of chants in his DMs.
I'm fucking shitting myself.
Now before this one, an excitement was at fever pitch. An open-top boss was seen ready for the occasion. One fan found West Ham legend Mark Noble on a run and decided to join him.
How you doing, Mark? Right, mate?
Fucking sweet.
Hard work this, bro, innit?
Yeah. What you got in your hand?
Pilsner. Are we going to win tomorrow?
I hope so.
Mate,
I hope so.
what a fucking day.
Oh.
Have a good gig, see you later. This one was a cagey affair, not much to report in the first half, apart from, of course, Hammer's fan trouble, as Fiorentina captain Cristiano Biraghi was hit by cups thrown from the West Ham end. He ended up with a pretty nasty gash on the back of his head. Someone threw an elf bar onto the pitch. How does Blueberry Raz get you aggressive? But on a genuine level, of course, this is outrageous behaviour, and it does need serious punishment, but I hope that the decent West Ham fans that weren't involved aren't tarnished with the same brush. But after a goal apiece in the second half, Jared Bowen would write himself into West Ham history. David Moyes was loving it. Knowlesy was in the crowd taking on 568 Italians. Maxwell Cornet was sweating. Brother, you didn't even play in the match. And West Ham now have more European history than Arsenal.
This is peak still.
But what a story. Massive props to West Ham. But of course, on a grander scale this season, could have easily sacked David Moyes when they were struggling down at the foot of the table. They kept the faith and he delivered in the biggest of ways. Another European final is on the horizon as build-up to the Champions League decider is incoming. We've got exclusive footage of Inter discussing how they're going to approach this one.
Stay with our 4-5-1, we're fucked. If we move to 4-4-2, we're fucked. But if we try a 5-3-2,
We're gonna win?
we're fucked.
Henrik Mkhitaryan is preparing himself for 90 minutes of action. But one dog owner on TikTok came in with a conclusive experiment to work out the victor. And obviously there's a chance at matching United's treble. For poor Jack Grealish, and his liver is going to be petrified seeing the possibility of a treble on the way. It's been a busy week over at Tottenham, who finally announced their Antonio Conte successor in the form of Ange Postecoglou. Harry Kane's going to have a nightmare trying to pronounce this name. The new Tottenham badge is catering for the Aussie. The Australian's in for a shock though when Tottenham's assistant names the teams that Tottenham have lost to in the last year.
Burnley, Wolves, Leicester, Newcastle, Arsenal, United, Liverpool.
He's going to have to do a bit of convincing to the Tottenham Stadium's bar staff when he asks for a Foster's pre-match.
You know this is an Australian driving licence?
Yep.
So you're Australian?
That's right, mate.
So when's your birthday?
15th of bloody May 1989.
To be honest, it's fine. If they find themselves bottom of the league in October, he's Australian. Everything's upside down. He's winning the league. Meanwhile, after a disastrous season, rumours of Harry Kane's future are rife. A move to Real Madrid to replace Benzema is on the cards, or not, because he'd rather take Alan Shearer's Premier League goal-scoring record.
Donut, you're so stupid.
He actually deserves the pain. What, a confirmed Champions League? Nah, I'd rather be a pub quiz answer, mate. Alan Shearer is not too pleased hearing this spiteful behaviour.
Fuck off.
To be fair, it would be a disaster him being in Spain. If he tries to roll his tongue, he'd cause a tsunami. Imagine his reaction to trying some spicy Spanish chorizo.
Do you want me to die? Because that's where I am.
One move he might make, though, is to the NFL, as apparently he's interested in becoming a kicker. He does realise this is American like not actual football, right? But I mean, the man is used to skying penalties anyway, so. Meanwhile, the FBI have opened a search for a man involved in NFT fraud, and this is the picture they've given. Hold on a second.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Was he wearing Chelsea shin pads by any chance? Rio Ferdinand's gonna be straight in there giving evidence. Meanwhile, Wayne Bridge is ready to grass him up at the first opportunity.
Here to report the crime. Yep. An international war crime.
Now, off the back of last week's Europa League final, and Anthony Taylor was the subject of violence and abuse in the airport whilst trying to get home with his family. Now, I mentioned in the last FTW that I didn't think his performance was that good, but regardless of what you think of a referee's performance, this kind of behaviour is not acceptable. At the Formula 1, and Martin Brundle stumbled upon Ben Chilwell, who decided to grass up his Chelsea teammate Mason Mount.
Mason, he said you're going to Manchester United.
At Liverpool, and there's the news that we've actually signed a midfielder. Alexis McAllister is on the verge of joining the club, £35 million from Brighton. Curtis Jones is going to be baffled hearing him speaking a different language after thinking he was Scottish. Jordan Henderson buying him Five Guys has actually worked. Meanwhile, ChatGPT's already come up with a new chant for the World Cup winner.
You can said I've seen ya winning with Argentina. I need a centre mid too, and so he's centre mid too.
A couple of weeks ago, when Mikel Antonio and Callum Wilson made a joke about Richarlison not scoring in the league this season, he hit back and asked how many World Cup goals the pair have scored. I don't know, Richie, but I've scored as many relevant Premier League goals as you this campaign. Meanwhile, Burnley are already back to start their pre-season. Admirable, I've got to say, but poor Wout Weghorst, he's had to get a train straight from Wembley, for God's sake. This is what he does! Now, a list has been cultivated of the most expensive players in football. Kylian Mbappe is going to be horrified when he sees himself down in 10th. To be fair, it suits him. He's ready to put that on his CV, so Real Madrid know he's cheaper and can come and save him. Bukayo Saka's the same value as an Arsenal v Wolves final day ticket. Meanwhile, Erling Haaland's pleased to be at the top of the table. Now, in France, an outgoing Lionel Messi was booed at Paris Saint-Germain's title celebrations.
Lionel Messi. We'll just listen to that reaction.
He's actually got a good record for PSG. These lot are such a spoilt fan base. Leo had some choice words for the supporters as he left the stadium for the final time.
Fuck off, everyone. I'm gone.
Manager Christophe Galtier is also on his way out after getting the sack. He's not a great boss, and he clashed with a lot of players, but it's crazy that you can win the league and still get fired from that job. Julian Nagelsmann is in the running to take over, but Thierry Henry turned down the opportunity to be his assistant because he wants to stay as a pundit. And honestly, I think I'm starting to know why. Neymar was once again at the Formula 1 in Spain, though looks like he's had a bit of a makeover in the last 7 days. Speaking of F1, and Spanish superstar Shakira was at the Grand Prix too, tweeting it's great to be back in Barcelona. Meanwhile, Gerard Piqué's realised she's here to write another diss track. To be fair, he can't be distracted. He's out on the track as well, mate. Barcelona won a friendly over in Japan 2-0 against Andres Iniesta's side. A friendly? These lot are still hungover from the title celebrations. Ansu Fati's going to have nothing left putting in 90 minutes, 6 hours after the final game of the year. But what we did get was a lovely, beautiful and wholesome Andres Iniesta and Xavi reunion. Barca's women won the Champions League after a comeback from 2-0 down to beat Wolfsburg 3-2. Now, there was a lot of talk about a couple of the goals scored in this one and potential low quality of them, as if Loris Karius didn't do this in a men's Champions League final 5 years ago. But great work from a generational Barca women's squad. Just please make sure that the men's side don't try and sell the trophy to sign Lionel Messi. Meanwhile, at Real Madrid, Eden Hazard has had his contract mutually terminated at the club. It's a spell that didn't go well, but at least he got a send-off from his physio. I mean, it's not a surprise. They're best mates with his injury record at the club. He's the only player at the club with a subscription to the medical department. A Spanish journalist told Atletico Madrid manager Diego Simeone that the average Spaniard has sex 56 times a year. Diego, in response, broke down the numbers and said he reckons that his team has a good average overall. You don't want to see what he does when one of his players is only having sex 55 times a year. For fuck's sake. Meanwhile, at Almeria, and it's fair to say this fan isn't totally pleased about his team's performance right now. Now, in Italy, there's the crazy story of Napoli manager Luciano Spalletti, who is leaving the club after delivering a Scudetto to the club's fans. He, back in the day, had his Fiat Panda stolen by the club's ultras, who said they'd give him the car back if he left the club. Now, after delivering them a first title since the Diego Maradona era, they've delivered the steering wheel for the car back as a joke upon him leaving the club. You'd think they could have given him the rest of the car back, for God's sake. Meanwhile, there's the news of Zlatan Ibrahimovic's retirement. The 40-year-old hadn't got too much game time at Milan, but the club love him regardless. And with this news, Joe Hart can finally rest. He gave a speech to the Milan fans who brought a tifo to celebrate his career. All I can say is, rest in peace the jokes of football retiring from Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I'm so fucking glad we're past that era. At Sassuolo, and one fan decided to go fishing mid-game, picking out a prize from the moat that goes around the pitch. Meanwhile, there were crazy scenes in the Serie A relegation battle, where at the start of this season, the league created a rule whereby the title or two teams in the relegation scrap are level on points come the end of the season. They have to play a playoff match for everything at the end. Spezia and Verona went into the final day level, and after a spiraling crazy final day of ridiculous results and changes, they ended up both losing and will now play in a playoff. Over in Germany, RB Leipzig won their second DFB Pokal in a row, an unreal achievement for the Red Bull backed side. Christopher Nkunku is selling balloons outside the ground to celebrate the feat. Get your nos here, ladies and gentlemen. Not a great day though for Timo Werner, who clearly missed a lot of chances, and that was amplified by the stadium announcer, who was clearly getting pretty fed up with his shooting ability. And it's over the bar from... Frankfurt fans were giving Dominik Szoboszlai some stick though, and he replied by pointing to his winner's medal. Now that it's time for your goals of the week, we got some more beauties here. First of all, through Benjamin Rollheiser, who plays for Estudiantes, the Argentine has unleashed a heck of a strike here. Over in America, and at the new home of Lionel Messi, this corner routine from Cincinnati could not have gone any better.
L'Oreal got under that! Oh! What a goal for FC Cincinnati!
And the the final goal of the week comes with an unbelievable story in Belgium, where Toby Alderweireld, upon returning to the nation where he started his footballing career, was playing for Royal Antwerp in a three-way title battle. Now, going into the final minutes, and Union SG were on the verge of their first ever league title. But after a late collapse and conceding multiple goals, Genk, who Antwerp were playing, were in pole position to take the title. That was until Toby Alderweireld picked up the ball on the edge of the area and blasted it into the top corner to score a 94th minute winner and wrestle the title away from the team he was playing in Genk. It's also the first title Antwerp have taken since 1957 and is easily the best title decider of the year. Now over in Turkey, Trabzonspor fans paid their tributes to Marek Hamšík, who's retired this year. Mate, all the FIFA 13 legends are retiring at the same time. I'm going to be devastated when Ibarbo calls it a day, or Gervinho. Well, he'll have to retire twice because his forehead retires separately. Over in America, and the soccer tournament is a 7-a-side event that features a host of famous former players and a $1 million prize. A mostly retired US women's team faced off against Wrexham and gave a passionate speech before kickoff.
This message is for Ryan Reynolds and Rob Macklin. 1, you should be here right now with your squad. 2, your team about to go down!
Only to then lose 12-0. And over in Turkey once again, Graham Souness returned to Galatasaray to recreate the infamous planting of a Galatasaray flag in the centre circle. You don't see Paul Pogba doing this though, do you?
Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes The Beautiful Game.
Now over in the Argentine second division, and what the fuck is going on in the Argentine second division? Have these lot decided to start celebrating Guy Fawkes halfway through? At Sparta Prague, and how about this for some football scran? The largest spicy sausage you're ever gonna see in your life, unless you're Megan Thee Stallion. Aye, yo, that's a crazy, yo, near it. In France, and this man on Snapchat trying to start a barbecue did not take too kindly to getting nutmegged by his mate. In China, and we've got probably the best and also worst example of time wasting ever, where Zhang Yan at Chengdu, I mean, it's simply comical stuff. Like, the guy's not hurt, he's rolling around, but it worked because his side managed to win 1-0 late on. It's a shithousery award for the Chinese shot stopper. Elsewhere, and have you ever had such an easy time as a goalkeeper that you've decided to whip out a deck chair and start reading mid-game? Imagine looking up and the opposite number one's got a Nintendo Switch out. In Norway, and the pressure is on. This Scandinavian side have got some serious defending to do. Let's hope they don't lose the lead, or that this dog doesn't lose his lead either, seeing as he's trying to wrap up everybody with it. Up in Sweden, there's only one way to come back from getting nutmegged humiliatingly, and that's to nutmeg them straight back. Meanwhile, there's crazy scenes in Bulgaria right now, where CSKA Sofia faced off against CSKA 1948. Now, these are two teams in dispute over which one is the real CSKA Sofia. The 1948 version formed 6 years ago, and the club named CSKA Sofia are currently in a title battle. Now, the two faced off against each other, and CSKA Sofia, not 1948, had the chance to win the game with a last-minute penalty, only to scuff it wide and lose the title against the side that claims to be them. Now there is time for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, you've just heard a confusing story about two teams vying for the same naming rights. Well, get ready for another one. Ah, no, I'm sorry, lad. I won't go too far into the details, but almost a decade ago, Steaua Bucharest were renamed FCSB. That's the team you probably know. You probably see them on FIFA. But a new team called Steaua Bucharest, who took on the old name, were formed in the 4th tier. This new side have been gradually getting promoted, one day hoping to face off against the other Steaua. Well, this season they finished 2nd in the 2nd division, meaning they should have been promoted to the top flight, except they can't be promoted because the club is owned by the Romanian army. There is a rule in Romanian football that you cannot play in the top flight unless you're a privately owned club. So they'll never get promoted until the club's ownership changes hands. Probably the most Romanian news story you're ever gonna hear. Closer to home, and England's cerebral palsy side won 11-0 against Italy. Have that, mate. Revenge for Euro 2020. Over in Egypt, and one of the mascots has better aerial ability than the player that's hidden behind him. If you thought life was tough losing out on the title for English Arsenal fans in the Premier League, the Russian Arsenal managed to lose 6-0 this week.
This is peak still.
In Paraguay, and who says that romance is dead, as this player celebrates with his girl after scoring a goal, even with a fence in the way. Meanwhile, at Sao Paulo,
Uma campanha aí pra
Now there is time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is the segment of the show where it brings you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now, we've seen some truly shocking refereeing and linesman decisions in this segment over the years. From premature final whistle calls to bone-crunching challenges that weren't even given as a foul. But over in Africa, cast your eyes upon the worst offside call in human history.
This is offside! This is offside! Hey! Oh my god! Oh my god! Go back!
I mean, it just is match fixing, isn't it? It's not even touched an attacking player on the way through. How could this be offside? On to the weird stuff though now. Over in Poland, and Kevin Komar managed to make history this week, becoming the first player to ever get a brace of assists in injury time of a playoff match. Doesn't sound all that extraordinary from the 19-year-old until you realise that he's a goalkeeper. Yep, he managed to get himself an assist in the 91st and 94th minute, and apparently used to be a left winger. Clearly, he's still got that delivery, even between the sticks. In Brazil now, and shout out Atletico Mogi, I probably pronounced that wrong, it might be Mogi, a Brazilian side that had gone 6 years without winning a game. I mean, an unbelievable spell of losses. Surely they'd be getting demotivated. Well, you would imagine, but this week they managed to win their second game in a row, and they did it with a win over their city rivals. Unbelievable. 6 years of losses to then win 2 on the bounce. And finally, over in India, there's a story of East Bengal, who won some silverware this week, but instead of being awarded with trophies, were given customary towels to celebrate their league or cup victory. On top of that, they were apparently given some bananas and mangoes to really sweeten the deal. That though is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.